प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः. Om. Dear friends, in the last episode we were just trying to have an introduction for the BhagavadGeetha. So I was telling you that in that earlier episode I told about what are the Vedas, what are the primary texts and what are the secondary texts, etc. And then I told you that BhagavadGeetha gives the essence of the Upanishads. Upanishads are the core of Indian thought, and then BhagavadGeetha gives the essence of that Indian thought. So that is what we have learnt in the last episode. And I also told you that BhagavadGeetha is not an independent text. It is a small passage, a philosophical passage, so to say, a philosophical passage in a larger text called Mahabharatam. This Mahabharatam describes a war, a sort of epic war. In fact, it is called an epic. We have got two epics in our tradition. One is Mahabharata, the other is Ramayana. These two are the epics. So in this epic tradition, they have described a huge battle, and when an epic is written, such a huge work, incidentally there are so many other things which are told. The story is only a pretext. The story is only a pretext for the author to tell so many things about, say, morality, statecraft, philosophy, all the things, almost all the things, what all you want, all those things will be told. So that is what is the Mahabharata. In that, the philosophical passage is Gita. So that is what we have seen. And then a question may come, when that war was about to start, I told you that this Gita is a passage. It is by way of conversation. It is conversational in nature, and then it is a conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna is the star warrior in that battle, and then Krishna is trying to give a big picture about human nature, give a big picture about what is human dharma, and then all those things he explains in a philosophical context. So a question may come as to whether all this discussion is possible when two armies are there stationed say opposite to each other. Is that battle possible? Is that discussion possible? So now we have to imagine the times. They are not like the present times when the armies may be there, and then without any provocation or without any sort of warning or without anything they can shoot. But then in olden days it is not like that. It was called a Dharma Yuddha. Dharma Yuddha means even when all the battle formations were over, then all the formalities had to be done. So the people on the people on one side would respect the elders on the other side. People on this side will respect elders on this side. They will do some namaskaras, etc. And then after due warning and then blowing of bugles and all that, then the battle starts. Only then they will shoot arrows. Till that time they don't shoot arrows. That is number one. Then the second point is, why should Krishna tell this philosophy to Arjuna? After all, when I am in a moral doubt, moral dilemma, suppose I go to a counselor, he will not tell me philosophy. Why did this take place? That is because Arjuna was a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means a person belonging to a ruling class, and all the people in those days, Kshatriyas, they also studied Vedas. In fact, say Lord Krishna, who is not a Kshatriya, he also had gone to a guru, because he also belonged to a particular class, a particular clan called Yadava, which comes under the category of Dvija. They were also Dvijas. So as a Dvija, he also studied Vedas, and Arjuna also had studied Vedas. In fact, for the say Kshatriyas or for the royal people of royal family, there was a syllabus rather. The syllabus was, they were told they were told statecraft. Number one, they were told statecraft and jurisprudence. That is number one. Number two was the Vedas. They had good grounding in the Vedas to know what is right, what is wrong. Then they also had a good grounding in trade and commerce. They also had a good grounding in logic. So all these four were compulsory, in addition to battlecraft. Battlecraft, of course, it was most important in those days. In addition to that battlecraft, the academic course for the Kshatriyas involved these things: Anvikshaki, Trayi, Varta, Dandanitihi. So that is logic, criminal jurisprudence, the Vedas, and also trade and commerce. So, that is how Arjuna was familiar with what exactly was there in the Vedas. He was aware all these terms which Krishna tells, they may be new to us. They are new to us because we are say we have gone away from that Vedic tradition, and then we are into a totally different tradition now, and then we have whatever we see in Hinduism today is by way of some rituals. We see mostly rituals and we do not see much philosophy unless you go to a teacher particularly to study BhagavadGeetha or the Upanishads. You do not get philosophy anywhere. If you go to a temple, you do not get philosophy. You go to a temple, you worship some say deity, you break some coconut or you give some offerings, and then the priest or somebody blesses you, then you are quite happy. So, that sort of emotional say sort of satisfaction is there, but there is no intellectual content in that. You are not knowing anything about the philosophy, what is the nature of the divine, what our books say about human being, the human nature, etc. So, for that you have to come to this philosophy. So, when Arjuna had this moral doubt, it was Krishna's duty to clarify to him. So, that is why he recapitulated, in a way you can say, he recapitulated what he had studied in the Vedas, and then he gave a big picture about what exactly is the human being and what is his dharma, so etc. So, that is what say we see in this say the overall context. This is something, the whole conversation is something which had taken place in a matter of about 2.5 to 3 hours. It is something not inappropriate. We need not have this question or any doubt that how can this sort of conversation, big conversation, take place in the middle of the war. It is not like that. It is only a clarificatory say in nature, and then at that time the Dharma Yuddha, all the rules of Dharma Yuddha required that unless both the groups were prepared, till that time the battle did not start. So, these are the things which we have to see. This book, as I told you, it gives you the essence of the Indian thought, but in Indian thought there are so many schools. In the same, of course, the same Vedas, the same Upanishads, and then though the Upanishads are one and the same, there are different schools interpreting these say lines in different ways. Prominently there are 3 schools. One is called the non-dual school. Non-dual means there is only one. There is nothing called another thing, that is non-dual. There is only one thing which exists, that which is called Brahman. This Brahman is not a person or anything, it is of the nature of pure consciousness. Apart from this pure consciousness which is called Brahman, nothing else exists. So, that is what is called the non-dual school, which in Sanskrit it is called Advaita. Advaita does not mean monism. Monism we may mistake for monotheism. It is not monism or monotheism, it is non-dualism, that is only one thing exists and nothing else. It is another type of monism, it is called qualified monism. That is, there are 2 things, not only consciousness. In this consciousness there is what is called sentient and also insentient. These 2 things ultimately they are merging in one. So, that is what broadly, that is what they say, that is Visishtadvaita. There is another way of interpretation saying that there is duality in this world. What we see in the world, the world which we see outside, it is totally real, it is not unreal, or rather it is not a mere phenomena or an appearance. The Advaita school, or rather the non-dual school, says whatever we see, the external world we see is a phenomena, whereas the dualists say the external world is not a phenomena, it very much exists, you and I are very much real. So, that is what they say. So, these 3 schools are there, but I have to clarify that I will be following the non-dual school. The non-dual school was mainly postulated by Shankaracharya. Of course, not only Shankaracharya, even prior to him there were several other people like Gaudapada, etc. And then say Shankaracharya, he wrote voluminous books. So, that is how he is called a great say preceptor of Advaita. But then prior to him also there were several other people. So, I will be following this Shankara's line, that non-dual line, say mostly. It does not mean that it will denigrate all other people, because the Visishtadvaita say mostly talks about Vishnu, Dvaita also talks about Vishnu. And non-dual philosophy does not denigrate Vishnu or Shiva. They are non-dual philosophy, it accepts all those people, there is no doubt about it. But then it says that is not the ultimate, you have to go beyond that. So, that is what non-dual philosophy says. Then coming to one more clarification, my target group, who are my target group? My target group are the present youngsters, the people who do not even know Telugu or their own mother tongue, because my own son, he has forgotten Telugu, my own daughter, she has forgotten Telugu. Now they speak, or they can they may speak Telugu, but then they can't read and understand Telugu. So, they can't read a text on their own in Telugu. So, same is the case with most youngsters in India. Most youngsters, they are more familiar with English, they are more conversant with English language, both reading and writing and speaking, and not with their own native tongue. So, this is the reason why I want to say in English, so that they can understand. Moreover, the Indian diaspora, or rather the Hindu diaspora, is there all over the world. All over the world, they are actually born there and brought up there. In fact, my English may be strange to them, my English may be totally with a typical Indian slant, but still I have to make some effort to convey. Otherwise, there is no other way that it can be told, unless somebody from their own country teaches this particular text. But in my own small way, I want to say explain, because I feel that this is a knowledge which has to be conveyed to posterity, because this is the essence of our thought. Gita is the essence of the Indian thought, so it has to be conveyed to our youngsters. So, this is why this is what is my target group. Then regarding any text to be followed, I suggest you can follow any text, it does not matter, provided it gives the text and also the translation. And if you have a text with word by word meaning, that is also preferable. And in fact, one text by Ramakrishna Mission, it is a wonderful text. Ramakrishna Mission has produced wonderful text. It gives the verse, it gives the translation, it gives word to word meaning of say each for all the shlokas. So, that is one wonderful text. If you want to follow the commentary also, if you want to follow the Shankaracharya's commentary, of course, I am not going into the commentary, I will not be reading out the commentary. In fact, I have taught that commentary exclusively, separately on YouTube. You can see that. There is one website called Advaita-Academy, Advaita, A-D-V-A-I-T-A, Advaita-Academy.org, Advaita-Academy.org. There I have taught the whole Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. It is called Bhashyam. Bhashyam is a commentary in Sanskrit. That commentary I have read every word of it and explained every word of it. It is there on the YouTube. People who are seriously interested may see that, but people who want to have a general idea about what is Gita, etc., they can listen to this. So, you can follow any text. If you want to follow Shankaracharya's commentary also and see that in English, there is one edition again by Ramakrishna Mission, and that translation is by one gentleman called Krishna Warrior. So, that is the name of the translator. Okay. Then coming to the text, what is it that we expect in this text? I told you the most primary thing I told you, it gives you the essence of the Indian thought, that is number one. Then why is it important? Because it will clear all our doubts, because a modern young man, particularly a Hindu, is having so many doubts about our own say beliefs, our own say practices, because he sees a person of another religion. So, that man proudly says, oh, we have got only one God, we have got only one book, you are people worshipping several gods, you are having so many texts, etc. This man is under some confusion. Why is it that we are having so many gods? And the other man also says, oh, you are worshipping these idols. So, what is this idol worship? What is the significance? What is the meaning of this idol worship? Are we worshipping the idol, or are we using it only as a symbol? What is it that is happening? So, the most primary doubts are mostly these things. Like how is it that we have so many deities, or we idol worshippers, and then what are various things like upasana, what is a yajna, what is an upasana, all these things. Then another most important thing is about the social stratification. The social stratification, as we see today, in fact, there are attempts to further say strengthen this stratification. Instead of uniting people, there are several forces which are trying to divide people. That is what we see in India. In any society, normally there will be an overall attempt by the government, by the intellectuals, and all the people who are concerned with the society to unite various groups. But in our society, unfortunately, for various reasons, there are very many divisive forces which try to divide, and then they try to take advantage of this stratification. They say that, oh, you have been exploited, you are the exploited, say, community or caste. So there is what is called a caste. So what exactly is this caste? Is it something which is mentioned in our texts, or is it a social, or is it merely a sociological phenomena? You will see that caste is only a sociological phenomena. It is not something which is mentioned in the text. It is nowhere in the scriptures. What is mentioned in the scriptures is only what is called varna. There is what is called caste on one hand, varna on the other. What we call caste today, saying that, oh, he is a person of lower caste, backward caste, etc., etc., this is something which is a sociological development and not something which is mentioned or something which is sanctioned or prescribed in the scripture. The scriptures only talk about the varna basing on the attributes of a person, the qualities of a person, the innate nature of a person, because human nature differs from person to person. Because human nature, somebody is very gentle in nature, very truthful, very contented, always focused on learning. Another man may be focused on getting more and more wealth, or focused on dominating over others, or rather exploiting others. Some other man may be very lazy, indolent, etc., or some other man may be there who is violent in nature. So these are all various types. So depending on the human nature, they have divided the people into various varnas. So that is what we will see in the 4th chapter of this Gita, and also again in the 18th chapter. The commentators have very clearly and in the most modern manner, they have interpreted these things, saying that this stratification is totally dependent on the nature of a human being, and it does not depend on on the birth of a particular man in a particular group. So that is what we will see. So all these important doubts will be cleared. And what is our attitude to another man, another religion? Why are we, and you will ultimately realize that we belong to a very great tradition where we respect every culture. We don't deny anything, we don't refute anything. Okay, we accept everything. We say that, okay, all that is accepted at a particular level. And then beyond that, the final message of Gita is you go beyond religion. Ultimately, that is a wonderful message which we see. You have to go beyond what is called the religion, what is called the belief system. Religion, basically, what is the difference between religion and philosophy? Religion is something which is generally started by somebody, maybe maybe a prophet, or maybe somebody who is a messenger of God or something like that. And then he says, yes, I have seen God, I have a revelation of God, and then this is what is the code of conduct, this is what you have to believe. Our God is like this, he is there in that heaven, and then there is what is called a rival to that God. God represents good, and then the other rival, he may be called a devil, whatever it is, he represents evil, and then there is a constant struggle which goes on. So some such belief system is there. There is what is a place, a nice place called heaven. So this is the belief system. Philosophy is not a belief system. Philosophy, what is philosophy? It tries to examine what is the nature of reality. If you are examining the external world, it will become science. Suppose I want to examine what is the very constitution of this paper. I break it into molecules, and then I break it into atoms, etc., and then I see do some qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis and so many types of analysis, and then I will try to see, okay, what exactly is this thing. I want to examine a flower. I examine it from various angles. So, like that, if I am examining the external world, it may be an object, it may be an animal, it may be something else. So, that is why we have got so many sciences like zoology, botany, physics, chemistry, etc., etc. So, this is observation of the external world is what is called science. But then observation of the external world is not telling you the ultimate reality. Ultimate reality in the sense, what is behind all this? In fact, I am a human being, and then I am able to observe, and I have got 5 senses, and all my observation, all my powers of observation are limited to these 5 senses only. And these 5 senses are taking some impressions from outside, and then these impressions, they are being carried to my mind, and then this mind is processing all that information, and then this mind is giving me some information. So, this so called intelligence, is it something which is born in the mind, or is it something else? Consciousness, is it something which is born in the body mind complex, or is it something outside? What is this? Then what is ultimate nature of the supreme reality? Can we say that there is only somebody who is sitting in heaven? If you say that somebody is sitting in some place called heaven, then what does it mean? You are confining this gentleman called God to a particular place, and a person who is confined to a particular place, however mighty he may be 1,000,000 times or a trillion times more powerful than the mightiest man on the earth. For example, the mightiest man is Schwarzenegger or some such man, 1,000,000,000 times powerful. Even then he is a limited man. So, in the vast universe, in this vast cosmos, this man is a very limited man, and then there is another rival to him. So, he cannot be called supreme. Then what is the supreme reality? So, our people, they thought on those lines, what is my capacity to examine? The mind is a human mind itself is like a laboratory, and in this laboratory, what are the tools, what are the equipments I have, and how is it that I have to observe, and is my observation right? Am I competent to observe? So, all these things, unless we look inside, we cannot know. So, this is what is philosophy. So, when you see this, then you have got a broader vision. You have got a broader vision, and you will try to accept everyone. Accept in the sense, you just do not bother about it. Okay, all that you have a belief system, there is no problem. You have a belief system that will give you some good result, and beyond that, you again try to grow beyond that. So, that is the ultimate message of the Vedanta. So, this is what we will expect in this particular book, and then we will get into the text maybe in the next episode, but I can very briefly tell you say about say some other things which usually people expect. That is, nowadays there are many people who talk about management in Gita. Of course, I am not going to talk about management in Gita, because the purpose of Lord Krishna is not to tell about management. The purpose of Lord Krishna is to tell what is the human nature, what is dharma. Dharma means the overall moral, ethical conduct which a man has to say observe in a society. And then the 2 types of dharma he talks about: dharma of those who want to have plenitude and prosperity in this world, and then those who want to withdraw from this world, and then those who want to say find the ultimate reality, contemplate on the ultimate reality. So, there are 2 types of people in the world: people of action and people of contemplation. So, men of action and men of contemplation, as we say. So, these 2 dharmas, one is called a pravrutti and one is called a nivrutti dharma. So, these 2 things are mentioned here. So, that is what we will see, and then that is why I will not tell about management, etc. And in the next episode, I will tell you about, we will straight away get into the text, that is BhagavadGeetha, what is the meaning of Gita, etc. Thank you. Om Tat Sat, Shri Krishnarpanamastu.